I have two topics that I'm very interested in today. And one is, what if I were to tell you that there is a way natively within Windows to help you become acquainted and familiar with what a person is using a computer for? So you walk up to a computer, you're going to do some troubleshooting, whatever, and it's a new computer to you. You're not real familiar with the user. Maybe it's a first-time client. And so this is a technique that I think natively in Windows I can use to get acquainted with what the user is actually using on the computer. You can go into appwiz.cpl and see what programs are installed. You can go see what apps are installed. Maybe look at browsing history, but that's not going to tell you what apps they're using. So this is something I'm really interested in digging into. I've started a little bit down that road, and then I didn't get to go further with it. So I figured, that's a good thing here. Second topic is Sam Lazar sent an update on his issue on IC. He's already in chat. Great. So perhaps we'll start with that. He sent an email update on the topic that we talked about with his client last week. So he's had a meeting with a client, and this brings up a subject that I find not only interesting and intriguing, but disturbing about the state of the computer industry. So buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to start by going to find that email and get that set up for us to deal with. We already know that on most occasions I can show his email natively on screen. Sometimes I paste it into Microsoft Word, which I did last week when there's back and forth between he and I. So here we go, right into it. Boom. Hi, Doug. How are you going? Well, usually I go by car, unless I'm just going around the block, in which case I'll walk. But anyway, an Australian greeting. I saw my client last Thursday and noticed that delete from server was switched off in his POP settings. Now, to remind you, last week we talked about this situation with this client where he said emails were disappearing. And there was significant reason to think that one of his computers that doesn't get used very often is still configured to automatically delete mail messages from the mail server that they're using in Australia. This is on his desktop, which runs, let's do this over on this screen. On his desktop, which runs Windows 7 and Office 2007. Yes, we know it's obsolete, and yes, he's going to he's recommending actions for the client on that. I then checked his laptop, which he hardly ever uses. It was set to delete emails 14 days or older, so I disabled that too. The last time he'd turned that laptop on was a few months earlier. Now, my recollection is I thought last week that he told us that the client did recently turn it on and that he suspected that was the reason for the recurrence of disappearing messages. Both his email and his wife's email are with Optus. That's a ISP email provider in Australia. ISP? I think so. So I made the same change on both accounts. I also disabled Auto Connect on Wi-Fi on the Windows 7 desktop, so he now has to connect manually each time he wants to use it. I'm not clear on why he did that, although it might be to prevent it from automatically deleting emails from the server, but he already turned that off, so not sure what the reason was for that. We also talked about replacing the hardware altogether. There we go. Now, however, it's a laptop he hardly ever uses. Should he replace it or should he just stop using it? Why does he ever use it? See, we got a name topic T2. And client email issue, part 2. Okay, very good. Thank you. And then Sam goes on T1. Well, Sam, you're too late. We already got a topic T2 identified. And Sam said Optus is the second largest ISP in Australia. So yes, ISP, not just email provider. And that's consistent with what I'm calling the disturbing aspect of this. I tell you what, I don't know. Arnold's got topic 2 for Sam's topic, and Sam chimed in on topic 1, but without naming it. So I don't know. He says I was referring to the new desktop to replace the old one. Oh, okay. Jim says almost on time. The world is about to come to an end. All right. So the part about we also talked about replacing the hardware. So that's the desktop, not the laptop. And yeah, I think I'm up to date with all the messages. New desktop to replace the old one. Yeah. He was keen, but wants to check with his wife before locking anything in. On my way home, I stopped to buy the Optus store. Now, here comes the disturbing part. On the way home, I stopped by an Optus store. So this ISP actually has a physical store you can walk into, kind of like Comcast here, I suppose, and AT&T for that matter. How they handle email retention. They confirmed it deletes automatically after 14 days. That's the way the computers were configured by default. Hang on. Oh, a couple big burps. On both POP and IMAP. That part, what? Automatically deleting on IMAP after 14 days. That doesn't make sense to me. That's disturbing. IMAPs, I haven't come across IMAP deleting on the server because 14 days on the server, Sam says. But if you delete the message from the server and you're configured for IMAP, when you delete from the server, that automatically deletes the message from your computer. So I don't understand that. When I asked what could be done about it, they handed me instructions for migrating to Gmail. Am I misunderstanding something about IMAP? Because IMAP on your local computer, the messages are not actually permanently stored on that computer. They'll be stored, like for Outlook, will be stored in an OST file. But if you delete that message from the server, it gets deleted from the OST file as well. So automatically deleted after 14 days, I could understand if a person deletes the message themselves, then there might be another 14 days before it actually gets deleted from the server. Manually move the item to another folder as a possible solution. Yeah, if that's what's actually happened. Now, another folder in IMAP, if you create subfolders in IMAP, does that make that message safe and that the only ones that are being deleted after 14s are the ones on the root directory of that IMAP account? That's news to me. I did not know on that. I have not known that. So let's see what you guys are talking about this particular thing. What move down. What Optus does is 14 days email on server, so IMAP is gone. Yeah, wow. That sentence just causes me a compute overload. What Optus does is 14 days email on server, so IMAP is gone. Yeah, I'm not understanding that sentence at all. IMAP messages are on the server from email provider unless you back up to your own computer. Yeah, that's my understanding of IMAP. It's on the server and you see it on your computer. And my experience is it stays there until you delete it. I don't want anything IMAP being deleted, because you delete that from the server, it's deleted from your computer. Locally, such as Outlook, move OST to PST. Yeah, we shouldn't have to do that. We should not have to do that. I have tons of clients that have IMAP configurations, or is it OAuth, on the Microsoft accounts or Gmail accounts that go to Outlook, and they're stored in OST files. We do not move those to PST files. That's a pretty real nuisance for somebody who has multiple computers, because a PST file is only on one computer. It's not on the other computers. So like I use multiple computers. That would be severely restraining to me if I had to move emails. And I don't currently have to, well, I'm using Gmail and everything just stays in my account. Rand Israel says he agrees that should not happen. 14 days emails gone deleted. Agree that shouldn't happen. That's what I'm calling disturbing. That's part of the disturbing part. I think there was another aspect to that. So move down. I use IMAP with 6 accounts and never have draconian delete from server rules on the server that I cannot delete. Yeah. So is this just Optus is the one doing that? Which that's a disturbing thing, that they aren't keeping up with email technology. We already know that's true. Like Network Solutions here in the US has got a very similar problem going on. They don't keep up. Tim Cruz agrees. Seldom Ball, possibly mistaken understanding is that in the US there are legal requirements that records like email must be preserved for years. Now, that legal requirement might not be on the mail service provider. That might be on the business. So if a business is using a mail service provider that deletes messages, then perhaps the legal requirement is on the business, not the mail service. I don't know that. Many people rely only on IMAP storage from their provider without making any backup or having a clue about it. Guilty. I'm negligent for backing up online email accounts. I've never experienced a loss for that. The only thing that I've experienced or clients have experienced is where they lose access to the account because they don't have proper security in place. And then I have a lot of clients who they don't care about their old messages at all, because they get the message in and they deal with it. And I go look at their computer and see the inbox completely empty. And I think their email is broken. No, it's just they clean up. They have a very clean, tidy email all the time. OAuth is for validation of the account. Yeah, okay, so is it still an IMAP account? The ones that use OAuth for validation. Yeah, it is. It must be, because it's still an OST file. Because when I configure a Microsoft account, it uses OAuth for a validation, and that configuration is in an OST file. I don't know that I have gone back and specifically looked to see that it's an IMAP server identity. In fact, when I go to look at the server identity, I don't think it shows me a server name at all for Microsoft accounts. So that's something I've been on those screens. I just don't remember exactly what they look like. Sam Lazar, I haven't made much progress on his email. Optus and some other ISPs have this. Another ISP, TPG, I guess TPG is a ISP name. Before they sold their emails was 39 days. I think they sold their emails. Yeah, I've come across email service providers, particularly when it's married to an ISP, where the ISP decides they don't want to do email anymore and they push that off on some other provider. And the one, GoDaddy is doing a lot of that business. They must, I think they must have door-to-door salesmen going around to the ISP saying, can we manage your email servicing for you? OAuth is the verification, but it is IMAP for his account. Sam verifies. Okay, so I don't think there not another protocol for email. It's either POP or IMAP. Is there anything else that is not either of those? OAuth validates the sign in. Yeah, we got that. Verizon did that with AOL. Ask me how I know. Wow. Microsoft Outlook does OAuth for IMAP only. Thunderbird supports OAuth 2, POP 3 as well. Exchange. That's it. Exchange for Microsoft Tech. Yeah, that's right. Microsoft Exchange is not IMAP, and that will also use OAuth for validation, I believe. Maybe somebody wants to confirm that. That's right. Of course, Exchange. And hosted Exchange, it could either be Microsoft, native Microsoft would be Exchange, and there can also be hosted Exchange, which I have at least one client on a hosted Exchange service where it's Microsoft Exchange, engine, but it's on private servers. On message forum board from my provider, every week I can read people mysteriously losing IMAP mail folders. There is no backup from provider available. Wow. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of puts me a bit on alert. Forum board from my provider. But I don't trust that a whole lot because I've come across a lot of forum messages where sometimes I come across the information that it was an operator error, configuration error, and they're blaming it on the mail service. So without a validation from the mail provider themselves that says, yes, we know this is an issue, I don't much trust forum messages. What about Spectrum Charter? Let's see, that was a read chat, please. And oh, I see why. No, that should have come up on screen and it did not. What about Spectrum Charter? I don't know. I'm not familiar with them. So let's see what read chat is. Almost on time. Manually move the item to another folder. If you don't use a mail app and you use Optus webmail to view your mail, regardless of protocol, and you haven't opened for 14 days, your mail is gone. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think, Zavi, are you asking that or are you stating that? And that is a disturbing thing here. This is my impression of what Sam is telling us. If you don't use a mail app, so you're not getting the messages stored on your computer, and you use Optus webmail to view your mail, that doesn't matter there is no protocol that you're using. You're using webmail. What, HTML? Is that the protocol? It's not IMAP, it's not POP3, it's not Microsoft Exchange, it's just webmail. And you haven't opened for 14 days. You got unread mail for 14 days. Your mail is gone. Sam, is this what you're telling us? Ay, caramba. We are busy today. Why did that go way down there? Let's get a where's that button? Where's that button? Oh, here. I put a topic panel. That's what I wanted to see. This topic 2. Oh, only 4. So I have seen those others. Yeah, all right. I heard about Spectrum. Customers were having issues when they weren't receiving Spectrum emails. It was going in my area for a while. Spectrum engineers were actively working on fixing the mail issues. So that is something that apparently that Spectrum was admitting. It was an outage. My client's from Sam. My client's laptop has Windows 11 and 11th gen Intel CPU. The computer discussion is a new desktop. My client wife also has Optus account, so email. So I was misunderstanding this a while back. He said he uses the laptop rarely. No need to replace it because it is Windows 11 on that laptop. It's the desktop computer that's a Windows 7. And apparently that is his main computer. He uses his Windows 7 desktop computer more than Windows 11 laptop. Yeah, if he's using the desktop, then he should be on that. Or I suppose if they're in a tight budget situation, does he use the desktop simply because he likes the big monitor, keyboard, and mouse? What about setting up that laptop, connecting it to, giving it some kind of a docking station to make it easy to connect it to the monitor, keyboard, and mouse, so he's working from one computer instead of going to this old computer simply because it has a big monitor? HTTPS. Yeah, that would be the protocol for webmail. The only way to keep an email for longer than 14 days is to go to POP. Yeah. That is a email service provider saying, we really don't want your email. But they are an ISP. Now, if it's if they have a custom domain name hosted by that ISP, is unlikely. If you got a client that's gone to a custom domain name, you're probably going to host that somewhere else, not on that ISP. So what that means, you can't move that email hosting to some other service. Like with Network Solutions, the main reason Network Solutions became a thing at all is that that was the only place you could get a custom domain name back in the early days, 1990s. And so a lot of those are custom domain names. I have moved those to some other mail provider, but at what was at optus.com or whatever their domain name is, you can't move that. I doubt. My client wants IMAP as he wants device replication. Okay, yeah. So he doesn't want to be storing these into a PST file. So Sam does have a proposed solution here. And I think this statement right here explains to me why he wants to do that. Now, you know what occurs to me last week? I neglected to throw Sam some points for bringing some topic, for bringing a topic. So I want to get that done here, and I'm just going to get a whole bunch of points thrown on here so that we make up for last week's. Oh, heck, let's just hit 8,000 points. Boom, chakalaka. All right. Then, Tim, that's what the automated system said. They was aware of the issue with customer mails, emails not coming through or popping up. So here's a case where the mail service, the ISP, admitted this is an issue. That's a distinction between somebody saying something in a forum, reporting that mails are disappearing. I don't accept blaming that on the mail service until we have an acknowledgement from the mail service. Sam Lazar, I did offer a docking station, but laptop is travel and desktop is shared with wife. Ah, yeah. Well, is it though? The wife's account, he mentioned making adjustments to the wife's account would be on the desktop computer. The husband uses the desktop computer, mostly rarely uses the laptop. Its main function in life is for travel. And of course, that's why he wants IMAP. Client used to be in IT doing COBOL and punch cards. I did punch cards. I did do punch card computing. Client domain is Optus1, optusnet.com.au. So yeah, you could not move that to another provider because another provider cannot take control of that domain name for email. You can't. And Sam, I was about to start describing a way to deal with it, but Sam has that in his email, so I'll let him do that through the email. If you guys will slow down on the message, I love the messages, but for multiple customers in the area about those emails not coming through from Tim. Okay, that was topic 2. Let's see about topic 1. I think that's all taken care of. Topic panel. I'm all caught up. Oh, I haven't highlighted these yet. I'll just keep that up. So let's move down each of these because we've already looked at those, and back to topic 2 because we've got another one here. Sam says, I do see auto delete from server rules in a few cases. Oh, I do see auto delete from server rules in a few cases, but it is 30 days for spam and deleted messages. That is normal or fine in my case. Yeah, certainly. Okay, let's get back to Sam's email here. Both accounts, I think we finished that. And on the way home, I stopped by Optus store, asked how they handle deletes after 14 days. How it could be done? They handed instructions for migrating to Gmail. So this is one method. Add both accounts to the email client, So email client as in Outlook or Thunderbird, whatever software you're going to use, add both the Optus account and the Gmail account. Drag and drop the emails across to the new Gmail account. So you grab the emails, highlight them, select them all, drag them into the Gmail inbox. If storage runs out, delete what's not needed or upgrade. If the default Gmail space, what is it? I don't know if it's 10 megabytes, 10 gigabytes, 50, I don't know what the basic free storage is. What's not needed or upgrade, do the same with the Optus IMAP version, so any server-side emails get pulled across too. With the Optimus IMAP version, so any server-side emails get pulled across too. 15 gigabytes free for Google accounts. Thank you, Sam. Add the old Optus account to Gmail's auto pop import feature. Okay, importing directly from Optus with deletion from Optus enabled. Okay, that makes sense. So you import into the Gmail account and delete from the Optus server into the Gmail account. Now, for this to work, all the computers the person's going to use have to implement this Gmail account access to the Optus messages. Set up an auto forwarder in Optus for emails after a few hours. After a few hours, I would just do this all at the same time, I think, as a backup in case anything's missed from in the import. No, I think there might be a misunderstanding there. An auto forwarder is only going to forward messages, new messages coming in, unless there's an option. In some services have the option on auto forwarder to apply this rule. It's a rule where I've seen this to existing messages. But that's creating a rule, not really an auto forwarder. An auto forwarder, in all of my experience, has been a new message comes in, it automatically gets forwarded to the Gmail account. In case anything's missed in the import, future emails, yeah, they were missed in the import because the import only captured things that were already there. Optus has an auto forward after a few after a few hours. That is the instructions I have. Optus has an auto forward after a few hours. It means it automatically forwards to another account after a few hours. Okay, so maybe that's sounding like, I guess I need to let you see this. Optus has a auto forward after a few hours. Well, you have to tell it what account you have to forward to, but it doesn't kick in until a few hours. Maybe that's what that means. It doesn't kick in until a few hours after you configure it. That's odd. I've always seen it happen immediately. Okay, come back here. Gradually move everything else across. Yeah, well, accounts. Well, we've already done the account. Let's see, Gmail did auto import feature, set up an auto forwarded. Now, Gmail also has a capability of being configured to receive new emails from another account not being forwarded. But we saw last week that that has a limited lifespan. It might be going away. Okay, let me try to get through the rest of this email, then I'll go catch up with these. Gradually move everything else across accounts, data. What data is stored that would be moved? I'm not sure what he's referring to as data because we've already talked about emails. Contacts, yeah, if the ISP hosts a contacts page, which most of them would, and let contacts know about the new address, I would set up an autoresponder in the Optus webmail to auto-respond to any new messages letting people know about the new address. I've since emailed my client with a few options. Now, in some cases, a person might not want that about an autoresponder. I've since emailed my client with a few options. Use an existing spare email, Gmail, Yahoo, iCloud, etc., if he already has one. If he likes that address, if he's okay with using that address into the future. If it's an address that he used primarily for as a throwaway address for signing up for accounts that he doesn't want to be bothered with nuisance emails from them, then maybe not. But because you can get many free accounts. If he doesn't have a spare account, set up a new free one with a provider like Google or GMX. Apparently, I'm assuming GMX is another Australian provider because I don't recognize it. Move to a paid provider like Fastmail. In my experience, it's the best option. It's what I use for my own work. I would take exception to call it the best option. Perhaps it's the best option for you and your purposes, your needs. That doesn't mean it's best for everybody. Some ISPs in Australia have sold off their email services to other companies. We have that here too in the US. GMX is German. All right. German Mail Exchange. Is that what it stands for? Really? Could Doug guess it that easily? Which means customer ends up with two bills, very limited server storage. Oh, about sold off their email services to other companies, which means customer end up with two bills, very limited server storage, and short retention windows like this 14-day policy. Others cap how many emails you can send or receive each day. Yeah. So Comcast recently announced that they're handing off their emails to Yahoo, and previously AT&T handed off their emails to Yahoo. I was expecting, when I saw that about Comcast handing off to Yahoo, if I'm right about that, it could have been GoDaddy, but I think it was Yahoo. Oh, I just cringed. I think I had a nightmare that night about it. And I'm suspecting the reason so many of these email services, ISPs and other email services are handing that off is because it's difficult to keep up with that technology environment. I'm just guessing there, because companies who have much larger business and make their money through other things, and they've been providing this email as an accommodation, I think their costs in managing that, maintaining that, have proven to be excessive. And that's just a guess, because I don't know. Let's catch up. And now he does ask suggestions. Yeah, the only suggestions I gave so far was about setting up that laptop to connect to the monitor, and that does not sound workable, because they certainly both need to be able to use a computer at the same time in what apparently is the rare instance where they need to do that. I deduce it that's rare, since he's reportedly doesn't use that laptop very often. GMX is German, crappy ISP. ISP wants out of emails, so they are making it a nightmare. Yeah, lots of Australian ISPs sold to the messaging company. Had many conversations on why now client X has two bills instead of one. Yeah, well, a lot of things in the computer industry have started out free, voluntary payment, inexpensive but mandatory payment once for a lifetime, and then subscription models to get higher capabilities, and then subscription models required for everybody, and then rates going up, up, up. Yeah, free or included is what they started out with, and that's going away because they're not making ends meet with that business model. They've had to make changes, and because gets to a point where they have to make a change, nobody else has made that change, we're going to be all alone. Well, the second company sees, oh, company one did that, so we're going to do that too. And then the next one and the next one, it's a domino effect, and everybody comes on board. And as computers become more and more ingrained as a requirement for our lives, is anybody really surprised that it's not as inexpensive and free anymore? Really? You've been living in Alice in Wonderland, La La Land, whatever. I'm not sure if the Alice in Wonderland analogy works because I've never actually watched that or read that book. Here included, Verizon was notoriously bad with their email servers. They had no spam filtering at all. When it got moved to AOL, 85 to 90% of the spam went away. Oh, okay. So there was a good news for when Verizon moved to AOL. Okay, so AOL is one of the destination emails, Yahoo, and GoDaddy. Has anybody handed off their emails to GoDaddy that they've come across? They've handed off domain services. Microsoft handed off domain services to GoDaddy, and Google might have too. I'm not sure. You need to understand free, there'll always be a cost somewhere. Okay, good point. Thank you, Phil. Let's throw some points on that. There'll always be a cost somewhere. So this free stuff we've had, it wasn't free. We were paying for it through advertising or through something else. And now ad blockers and other methods of like opting out and declining cookies and stuff, these companies that were providing free services don't get the benefits that they had from doing things with the cookies and the advertisements. So they've got to make up that revenue somewhere. So good point, Phil. I do think that most likely is a more significant element to what we see happening in the industry than people realize. Google did move Sam's dad's domain to GoDaddy. Okay, so yes, that is right. I thought I have created some domains in Google that I don't know that they got moved to GoDaddy, but when I tried to set up a new domain, I think I recollect being redirected to GoDaddy. So if I go try to manage my own domain, does it redirect me to a GoDaddy web page? We might go look at that during this show if you request it. If it is too good to be true, there's usually a catch. Yeah, and saying is if it's too good to be true, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Implying that it is not true because it is too good to be true. Yeah, so a lot of times in the past, the catch, we weren't quite so conscious of the catch, meaning the advertisements and the cookies and what they were doing with our information when they get the cookies that reveal what we're browsing to, what we're searching for, and they can sell that information to advertisers so that advertisers can pay for more directed advertisements. They pay more per advertisement, but they're reaching people that are more likely interested in what they're advertising. Which I myself personally, I don't mind seeing advertisements for things that I am interested in. I have actually chosen to buy products based upon advertising that has come to me that way. The largest ISP in Australia, Telstra, has 10 gigabytes on email, 10 gigabytes limit on emails, and never delete after a certain time frame. The only issue is spam filter is non-existent. Now, if it's 10 gigabytes limit and they never delete, that also means that you may come up against where you're hitting your limit and you get an email message saying that you're not going to be able to send emails anymore. Or, excuse me, in some cases, you're not going to be able to read emails anymore until you reduce your storage. I've had that many times with clients, and we've used various different techniques to manage that. let's see, did I finish everything about that? Oh, spam filtering is non-existent. Yeah, with Gmail, it's very aggressive spam filtering. There are more messages in and it's not just spam filtering, but it's also it is also promotions and social. So spam messages go into a label. It goes to that label, which appears like a folder and is removed from the inbox, so I don't see it for spam or junk. And then there's a promotions tab, and then there's a social tab. So everything from social media accounts or things that Gmail recognizes as promotions are put on those tabs. But I have everything in my inbox. Some of my clients have not liked that and they wanted that turned off, and I did. It's an easy thing to turn off the promotions and social tab in Gmail because they want to see everything. They don't have as much junk as I do. Telstra just says, get good antivirus and hope your IMAP email client spam filter is good. Well, Telstra, if you use their own email without any other email client, like using their webmail, then you're not going to get any spam filtering. But if does Thunderbird filter spam? I'm sure somebody's going to come up with that answer soon. I'm guessing that might be Jim to let us know if Thunderbird filters spam. I had to restate the question because he might not have been listening at that time. Fastmail is very aggressive as well for spam. Okay, Fastmail Sam pays for that. And that is that just a email client, Sam, or do they actually host your email on their own servers, on their own mail servers? Thunderbird does a good job of spam filtering, Phil says. So, yeah, we got that answer from Phil. The thing about better ISPs is if they are available in your area. Yeah, well, there are mail service hosts that you can have without being through an ISP. In fact, having your email address tied to an ISP is not a great idea. You have an ISP service, yes, but what if you want to switch to a different ISP? Like here, what if I wanted to change from Comcast to AT&T? If I've been using that Comcast address, then there's some downside to doing that. Now, I do have clients who have done that, who have left Comcast, but they keep their Comcast mail address. Well, in that case, Comcast restricts how much you can have stored on their servers. So that's one of the situations where I have clients that we occasionally have to manage their email. I just did that recently with a client who fairly often gets 10 megabyte attachments and then they sit in his inbox forever. So we did some management of that in order to get his consumption down because he was up at 98% capacity. Thunderbird does a good job of spam filtering, and Phil is responding specifically to a question I asked, so I'm throwing him some extra points on that. 500. And then Thunderbolt, isn't it Thunderbird? I don't think it's Thunderbolt. That's a connection device. Thunderbird and Betterbird has a fairly good spam filter. I have it on my IMAP emails. Fastmail is a Melbourne, Australian email provider. So it's not just an email client software. It is an email provider, not an ISP. A Thunderbird is just a local client. Yes, I do know that. Phil, I get a few spam emails through Thunderbird, but they are not annoying. Because who would be annoyed at spam? And Sam gives the URL for fast mail. Let's see. Topic 2. Oh, it says there's 3 that I haven't cleared. Okay, so where do I want to go next? Is there anything else to add along the lines of suggestions for Sam? Let's see, obviously replacing the desktop, no alternative suggestions for that, because yeah, what are you going to do? And as far as how to deal with email, I think I don't have any better ideas on that. Yeah, the Gmail account, I guess one suggestion is maybe a new email address that makes more sense. Make sure he's thought through if he uses an existing Gmail address he has, and it's one of those just weird names that doesn't sound like him at all. Or maybe it's his name with like 4 or 5 random numbers after it. Try doing something different that's easier. Maybe his name isn't available, but maybe his name and some other word descriptive term after that. You might find something else that is available. And if he has an existing Gmail account, go look at it before using it to see if it is really got a lot of junk and clutter that you'd rather not deal with. So, I mean, those aren't stunning suggestions, but just thoughts. I'd see Sam is in the business, so fast mail that he's paying for has some features that are beneficial for him, may make sense, but for private individuals, I think he said that this was a older couple, I think retired. That may not make sense. Things that make it good for Sam may not make sense for them. Okay, so in topic 2, let's see, I'm on topic 2, I'll go to the bottom, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Phil, years of experience have made me aware of what is potentially a spam message. And Sam, email provider to move to as a suggestion, or how to migrate all of clients' now that's a good question. All of clients' huge history. So the client may have a lot of emails, and what happens is you may have a situation where in the inbox, if you just try click and shift click at the bottom and you drag them over to the new inbox in Gmail, you want to be moving rather than copying so that it removes them from the source location. Otherwise, you have to go back and delete them. Well, you could do, I'll eat my words there a little bit. You could copy operation, but make sure they stay selected and then delete the ones that you now verified did indeed copy over. You might want to have a second tab open in your email client so that you can see that the new messages are there in the inbox so that you don't leave that screen where you have everything selected, because it might be the case that if you click into the inbox for the Gmail account and then click back to their original account, their Optus account, that selection might disappear. Now, you may have an export feature, which might work out better. And you ought to test this just on like 2 or 3 messages to test it, where you select 2 or 3 messages and look up on the file menu options to see if there's an export option, exports those to a file, and then go to the Gmail account and import those messages. Now, the reason for that is you may be able to export the entire account or the entire inbox, not just what's visible on the screen currently. Since this is a IMAP, no, POP. But anyway, looking and considering the export to do everything, because if you get stuck to having them doing in groups of messages, that can be a nightmare. Email provider to move to as a suggestion. People have had suggestions. We've talked about providers that exist. Is there any reason to? No, I don't have a reason to recommend one over the others. Don't use network solutions. Don't use Optus. I like Gmail because of the amount of things that it does natively, that you can configure it to receive emails for other accounts, although some of that may be going away. I find that I have a lot of things that I can do within Gmail. Now, it is very inexpensive to have your own domain name. Depending upon how much this person, your client, interacts with other people, he might be intrigued with the idea of having his own domain name. I'm not sure what the current rates are. Was it $25 a year for the domain registration? If somebody knows that off the top of their head, you might let us know that. And then the domain registration, and then the DNS services will be another subscription fee, but it's also not very expensive. I mean, for I think $100 a year, it can have his own domain name and then move that around to any provider that he wants. Having your own domain name doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a website. And I don't know, it could intrigue him even if he has no legitimate reason for wanting to do that. Without possessing a smartphone makes me a less likely target for spam messages. Really? You think a smartphone is what brings more spam messages to you? I don't know where that comes from. If a spam source, if a spamming entity can find your email address because you have an account anywhere, or because people include you on a carbon copy list of emails and any of those computers are compromised, the spam senders get your email address. If your email address is exposed anywhere, you're a target for spam messages. If you have any accounts with that email address, I'm not aware of how a smartphone makes you more of a target for spam. If you want to defend that, I'm interested. Sam, have you considered using a virtual private server and host your own mail server? They are quite reasonable. That scares me a lot. I do not like that at all. You have to be your own security department. Mail servers, you are publishing that mail server address on the internet. In order to have your own mail server, you have to publish the IP address, a static IP address for that mail server, and the domain name. And I think mail serving is a complex environment. And that's why all these ISPs don't want to do that anymore. Because you got to really be on top of your game there. Now, a person might be hosting their own virtual private server as a mail server, and they say, "Oh, I get along fine with it." Well, maybe that's just because the hackers haven't become interested in you yet. Maybe they never will. Maybe they already have, and you just don't know it because you haven't been monitoring your internet traffic. You may not even have a enterprise grade firewall that keeps logs of what's going on. So you may have already been hacked by the hacking students, even black hat students who are learning how to hack mail servers. They've already got everything that you have. They're just not interested in doing anything with it, so you never realize that. I'd be very hesitant to do that. Sam says $7 Australian dollars per month for emails with Fastmail is not bad. For you, for somebody who's in the business, for a private individual who's not in the business and is just chatting with personal acquaintances and is on a fixed income, $7 a month here, $10 a month there, $15 a month there. Now you have to be very diligent on every expense. So that is not true for everybody. In Sam's position, it works for him. Hosting your own mail server requires a level of attention that many people do not want to perform. Absolutely. Somebody said that recently. Who was it? You skipped my message at sharegeminigoogle.com at 2 dot. Did I? Okay, so here I'll do a good thing here. I can do spotlight selected user and then showing all of these messages. Sure enough, at 11:32, I asked my friend, does Optus delete? I remember seeing that show up on screen. You know what I think happened is I think I thought I had gone through all of topic 2, and then my topic panel said that there were still some messages that I hadn't highlighted. And I thought, yes, I did. They must have just missed highlighting them or something. So yeah, I did. Sorry about that. It was not intentional. Ask my friend Gemini, does Optus delete from inbox automatic after 14 days? The answer was no. Oh, interesting. So that's contrary to what I understood Sam to tell us. That's at 11:32. Now I can't copy and paste from that. So I'm going to go grab that from the actual chat window. And I don't even have today's show open on my browser. So I'll go to that and pop out that chat and do a copy paste, and we'll go look at his Gemini conversation. At 11:32. And while I've got his messages on screen, I should look to see if there's others there that I didn't see. Read chat. Yeah, oh, yeah, that's part. If you don't use a mail app and use Optus webmail to view your mail, regardless of protocol, and you haven't opened it for 14 days, your email gone doesn't make sense. So he did that again. He did that as a read chat, please. Now I did make some changes to read chat, please. And there's a piece of it I realized just before showtime that's not working quite right. So I think that's why I missed those. And yeah, it's the same message. Okay, so I got that and I got that. All right, so then let's go see his conversation with Jiminy. Jiminy. Does Optus delete from inbox automatically after 14 days? So Sam, I'm going to be interested. Is this contrary to what the people told you in the store? I don't really trust people in the store very much. So no, Optus does not automatically delete emails from your inbox after 14 days. Email in your inbox stay there indefinitely unless your mailbox reaches its storage limit or you delete them manually. So if it reaches its storage limit, then that's something different. Maybe 14 days, maybe the oldest gets deleted. Or maybe it's just full and you get an email saying, hey, your storage limit is exhausted. Fix it. However, 14-day rule does apply to specific folders or client settings. Spam junk folder. Optus Webmail automatically deletes emails stored from your spam folder after 14 days. Now, it is quite possible the person in the store that Sam was talking to, their day in and day out interaction is not this question. They are selling new accounts, they're closing accounts, they're giving replacement equipment, whatever they do in the store. Now, this person may have sat through a seminar or a webinar and remembers, yeah, there is something about automatically deleting after 14 days, but it was the spam folder after 14 days. And being that a employee in a store likes to think they know more than they do and may not be, real accurate or careful about what they say, they may have generally thought, yeah, 14 days, that's right. Yeah, we automatically delete after 14 days. When it's just the spam junk folder. That's more believable. Email client settings, POP3. If used in the email program like Outlook, Apple Mail, Thunderbird configured POP3, the software itself might be set to delete messages from the server after a set time frame. 14 days. Yeah, okay, so we're quite aware of that. That's been part of our conversation. Key things to check. Spam folder. Check your spam folder regularly. Recover legitimate emails before the 14 days automatic purge permanently deletes them. Is it possible, because Sam said his client reported that emails were being deleted, and I don't think we have a real clear about, was it some emails mixed in, email from 3 days ago got deleted, but others older was still there? Or was it just emails that were beyond 15 days? Or now, is it possible that, like on a phone, you're seeing the entire inbox, but that they're seeing legitimate emails and spam emails in that all mail box? Because smartphones will have you can choose whether to see all mail or just the inbox. If you choose all mail, you're going to be seeing spam. So maybe there is legitimate messages in there that have been flagged as spam. And when you're looking at the all mail folder on your smartphone, you don't realize that that has been flagged as spam. And therefore that message gets deleted, but others have not been deleted. So that's a weird situation that could be happening. POP3 versus IMAP settings. If emails are vanishing from your Optus webmail inbox, check your email app's account settings under incoming server advanced settings. See, remove from server after X days is enabled. Yeah, this is just how to deal with this issue up here. Is enabled. Changing to IMAP or unchecking that option will keep your server copy intact. Yeah, because in IMAP that doesn't happen. That's not a thing. That checkbox for remove from server after X days is not there. Need help checking your this is advertisement, sort of. Need help checking your email client's POP3 IMAP settings to stop emails from disappearing? This is Gemini advertising. I can help you with this more. It's not advertising in the sense that Gemini makes more money, but it is one of those things that is engagement. It wants to engage you. Okay, let's see. So at the end of topic 2, because there's, I think, a few here. Now, if I look at topic panel, topic 2 has 9 unread messages. So if I go up 9 messages, and then I can take them in sequence, that should handle that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then the one above that is Zvi's that I skipped his messages. Zvi, I'm going to give you points here, and we're going to do. Let's see. I'm going to come over here and do 2,000 points on that, because I very much appreciate that you took the time to go do a Gemini and then share it with us, and then also say, hey, you missed me. Okay, how did I get to? We were on 2. How did that get to 1? It was 2. I got to get back up. 1. Oh, there we go. Oh, I just have to press up or down and it gets me back to where I was. Dennis saying they have come a long way from the old days. Dennis was talking about virtual private servers, that they have come a long way since old days. Yeah, but still, if they're cheap, if they're inexpensive, I think you really have to know what you're doing to be safe with that. I'm sure they have come a long ways. That doesn't necessarily mean it's safe for a person who's not willing to really learn the environment. Phil to Dennis, are you talking about CompuServe? No, he's talking about this virtual private server to host your own email, I'm pretty sure. Domain 2000 hosting your own email is difficult because big mail providers will block or filter your messages if you do not have good IP reputation. Yeah, that's one of the things. If you're hosting your own email and you send a message to somebody that's on another email service, their service might not respect the reputation of your mail server. Your mail server could easily get compromised and taken over by spammers to where they're using your email server without your knowledge to send out spam, and they get your IP address blocked by a lot of other email servers. So, yeah, do you know how to manage that? I mean, there is content out there to teach you how to do it. But if you're going to host your own email, you have to do that work. Could suggest Fastmail with a domain for my client, like what I use. Yeah, but I'm suspecting Fastmail might be more expensive than they need to pay. And rather than suggesting Fastmail, just drop the idea. Would you like to have your own domain name? Like your name at firstname.lastname.com or something else of your interest. It could be a vanity license plate type thing that, oh yeah, it'd be cool. Whereas there's no business purpose to it. Xfinity's telling me they're going to do work in my neighborhood. starting September 1st. When is that? A couple days away. Scroll down, and Dad has a domain with Gmail, but never had a website. Yeah. I don't do anything with my website, and I have a couple of them. 3 of them, I think, because I think I have also LWT.com. Yeah, I do. LWT.com. I got a 5-character .com website. I was so thrilled to find that available and haven't done anything with it. I see people glance at the mail on their smartphone without really reading it before replying. Yeah, or touching a link in it. I have many clients who are well trained. They tell me that they know not to click a link, they know not to reply unless it meets certain criteria. Client says, thank you for your assistance with our printer issues. My computer is still advising me that 2 documents are ready to be printed. Can we resolve this? Certainly. She didn't tell me about that issue. Replying to a message without reading it is inherently dangerous. Yeah. And it's not sufficient. With the news media, it drives me nuts. When I hear the news media says, don't reply to a message or don't click on anything in a message unless you know who sent it. That is not good enough. Email addresses can be spoofed. People can come up with email addresses that look very similar to an email address of somebody you know. And the bad guys can send out emails legitimately claiming to be from the sender that you know, and it is not them. So it is not safe to click on links inside of an email or even reply to it just because you recognize the sender. Got to do more due diligence. Optus, 14 days is what the staff at my local store said. Yeah, I don't trust that. You need to verify that yourself. Optus also gives 500 megabytes on the server. I told my client to actively check his spam folder. Yeah, and the possibility that there's legitimate emails showing up there, and then he's got to know how to make that person never be flagged as spam again. It's not enough just to move that to the inbox unless the email software that he's using confirms that it will keep all emails from that person that come from that person. In the social topic, Chris Garrett says, hello, LWTB and everyone. I am just going to sit back and watch, not feeling well, as was feeling weak this morning. I'll help you feel better soon, Chris. Thank you for saying hello. All right. Where are we at? Yeah, so at the beginning of the show, I teased this other subject that I'm very interested in getting into about becoming familiar with what a computer is being used for, even if you don't know the person or the computer very well. Going into appwiz.cpl to see what programs are installed, that doesn't mean they're using those programs. Looking at the icons on the desktop, some people launch programs that are not on the desktop, or there's a lot of icons on the desktop that they're not using. Now, I'm gonna try to just kind of on the side check in with what other messages people are sending, but I'm not going to be jumping back and forth to that topic with every new message. Yeah. So I'm going to go down this road and I'm interested to know if anybody else has gone down this road and see what you think about it. And part of this is going to be exploratory in the sense that I'm going to be doing some research on this that I haven't yet done. I've started into it. And this is sleep study. You can use that to find out what a computer's actually been using, a person for. You know what I meant. So here's what we do. Whoops. Go to, I pushed the right button on the wrong Stream Deck. No, I don't have 2 Stream Decks. I have 3. And we have to do this as administrator. Now, some of you might be interested in following along on your own computer to see what your computer's reporting about this, because this is built into Windows. So it's open a command prompt as administrator, and then it's power CFG / sleep study. And I did show this once before, but I'm going to take a little different approach with it now. So we press enter, and you have to spell it right, of course. So I'm going to press up arrow and go back to CFG. And then sleep study report, save to file path. Now, first thing I want to point out here is I discovered a discrepancy today. When I double click on this, see how it highlights that entire address? Some of you may find when you double click, it only highlights one word, because I did find that some computers, when you double click, it only highlights one word. If you triple click on this computer, it just goes back to nothing. If I triple click over here, 1, 2, 3, I'm just getting the single word. So I find some inconsistencies here. I don't know what's up with this. So if you double click on this address, and then you can shift left, double click, shift left arrow to get down to just the HTML part. Now Control C. So it has saved that study into that HTML file. How would you access that? Now, I have also seen some computers will store this in Windows System 32. Other computers will store it somewhere else. And it may simply be a matter of what folder the computer opened up into. And I think that is the case. Now that I just take a look at another one. But anyway, after doing that copy, the easiest way is Windows key R. Down bottom left corner, we got the run command, and then Control V to paste it and press enter. And it's going to open that document into a browser. And what this document gives us is system power report, and down here we get battery information, system event log, energy meter. Each of these plus signs indicates more information. I've also found inconsistencies within how much information, these different categories for each of these sessions. Let me point out there's session ID 1. So that is a session of the computer being on. So this one started on this date, and it went for 4 hours and 18 minutes. So it started, it was shut down the same day. Let's get to the most recent session. Session ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Session 3 was started today because I turned Big Beast Build on this morning. The prior session was last Saturday. Big Beast Build has not been turned on since last Saturday. I turned it off last Saturday at 5 p.m. it looks like, and then turn it on again today. Then if I come down here, session 1, 822, it gives me battery information. There's no battery, of course. If I was on a UPS and I had the USB cable connected, I might see something there. Energy meter, power estimation. This is the piece that I'm really interested in, is power estimation, because this is where you can see what a computer actually has been used for to some extent, what programs have been used. So OBS was it shows a total of MW, was that milliwatts? I'm not sure, but it gives relative information to how much is being used. If something hasn't been used at all, it's not going to show up here from using any CPU power. It indicates how much power it's used for the monitor, how much power it's used for the disk and the network and so on. I'm not all that interested about the power usage. I'm just interested here is becoming aware of what a person is actually using a computer for, what programs that are on the computer that they're actually using. So Chrome, you can see that I've used Chrome. Now this doesn't show us in terms of time, and it doesn't show us what websites I've been going to, but there's other places to see the history and the cache to see what activity, but that's not what I'm interested in. All I care about is a person does use Chrome, or they use Edge, or they use the Thunderbird, or they use I'm sorry, I can't remember the browser associated with Thunderbird. So you get an awareness of what they're using. If you might see that Edge is also in here somewhere. Let's see if I do a Control F, Edge. Do I find Edge in here? Yeah. So there's Edge. You can see, relatively speaking, how much power is used in Edge versus Chrome. So you get an idea of what browser a person is more using than others. A whole bunch of stuff in here. Now you could take a significant amount of time reading through this, and this is only showing the utilization during that particular session. Now we haven't got to what I think might become a big deal for me. Now we'll go to this next session and look at power estimation. Here there's no power estimation. Well, that's curious. Why is that? It had a duration of 160 hours, far longer. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm not sure how up to date this capability in Windows is, but still it does give this information. So here's what I want to do. If I go back to see where that is, Windows System 32 Sleep Study Report, I'm going to come over to AI Studio. That's what I'm currently using, and I'm going to import that file, upload files, and I have not tried this yet, so this is a new experience. Hello, Carrie. What is the citation of official Optus? Okay, that's back on Optus, so we'll come back and catch up with that later. I'm going to stick on this topic for a while. You can continue, people can continue contributing to that Optus topic. And let's see, System 32. And I'm going to sort by date to easily find that file. And I don't have it there. What did I do wrong? Let's see, am I in the right folder? Windows System 32 Sleep Study. Oh, it looks like it's resorting. I got date modified. This is refreshing. What's going on here? What's going on here? Windows System 32 Sleep Study Report. Okay, let's try by name. When I go by name, then click on any of these folders, type the letter S. Should go to the first thing that begins with an S. And it did not. What am I doing wrong? I must be doing something wrong. System 32. Okay, so let's try a dir sleep asterisk. There, the file is there. Directory of, if I double click there, highlights all of that. Control C, Windows key R, Control V, paste, enter, and then type in S. That goes to the first folder that begins with an S. S again, it goes through all the S's. If I keep doing S, hold down the S, it should get me to the S's section here. Now, SL will give me the first one that begins with SL. There's a sleep study report. Okay, I'm not sure. I'd probably have to go back and look at the replay the video to see what happened there. Now here I'm in the open window. If I do the same thing there, okay, so I do SL, oh, sleeps, there's a folder sleep study. That's curious. Screen on. Nothing there. Okay, so this sleep study should be in here. Now, if I just scroll down to the files and then do SL. Ah, geez. Showing you this cool trick and it just fails. So here I'm going back to File Explorer. I can just drag this window in. So I'm going to cancel out of that upload and then bring this back on screen, and I'll just drag this HTML down into AI Studio or any AI chatbot of your choice. And then what can you tell me about the user of this computer and what they are using the computer for? In terms of what programs are they commonly using? This is the piece I have not tried, and I'm thinking it can help me become aware of what a computer what a computer uses a person for. I have had some new clients that I ask them, or maybe we're going to get a new computer for them, and I ask them, what programs do you use on your computer? Windows. No, that's not what programs do you use on your computer? I'm Gmail. I do email, and they don't know what I mean by programs, of course. Now let's see what it can it tell me about this user. This might totally bomb and fail. I don't know. Based on the data in System Power Report, here's a detailed breakdown of the user, their setup, and what they're using the computer for. Primary account, Doug. Computer name, machine type, dedicated PC, platform, desktop running on AC power, no battery installed, equipped with ASUS motherboard, NVIDIA graphics card, Windows 11, 24H2, 26100. This does not tell me, now it's actually, apparently I'm behind because 26200 is current. It does not tell me whether it's Pro or Home. Storage setup, multiple drive volumes, standard OS drive, hard disk volume 2, dedicated data tools drive on hard disk volume 9. Primary activity, live streaming, content creation, and podcasting. This Big Beast build is not my daily driver. I told you, it hasn't been on all week. I used it for a stream last Saturday. I did some other stuff on it in the afternoon, shut it down around 5 o'clock. I haven't turned it on until this morning. By far the heaviest system resource power consumption on this machine, dedicated live streaming, broadcast production, presentation tools, OBS Studio portable setup, utilizing such and such, Elgato Stream Deck, yada, yada. Tells specialized plugins that are used, Stream Deck automations, text to speech, streamer bot, speaker bot, screen annotation, camera hardware, day-to-day productivity and communication business, web browsing, Chrome and Edge, Zoom. I commonly use it on Friday evenings for my Zoom session with my brothers. We did not do that last night. Microsoft 365, QuickBooks Desktop and Desktop app. programming automation, Python and Conda, Mini Conda, Node.js, administrative tools, LogMe and Rescue, cloud sync backup network storage. User has robust backup storage workflow. Cloud storage, simultaneous use of Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive for desktop, NAS and local image backup, Synology Active Backup for business, Macrium Reflect, network security, ExpressVPN. I'm no longer using Magnus Box for Big Beast build since I turned over to the Synology, and Synology is backing up all of my drives. Summary, the user Doug is an advanced technical user. Oh, gee, thank you. Most likely a content creator, live streaming technical presenter who runs multi-app streaming software outside of streaming video. They use business accounting, yada, yada. Now, let's see what happens with the Baby Beast, because my use of Baby Beast is different. Let's go over here, bring up Baby Beast. Never mind the man behind the curtain, that other chat during my test stream this morning, and the wet hair. So I opened as administrator and then power CFG, such a Doug, space, sleep study. And then there's the report in system 32. I have a B-Link computer over here that is a Windows Home. And when I launched command prompt on it, it opened into the profile folder for the user on that computer. And so that's where it saved to. So this is Baby Beast. I got to bring up Baby Beast keyboard and mouse. So now double click. How is this going to behave? It did all of them. On the B-Link computer, when I double click, it only highlights the word that I'm pointing at. If I triple click, it highlights the entire paragraph, which is too much. So I actually had to drag across that. Control C, and then Windows key R, Control V, paste. Now I don't actually need to go through this. See, there it shows 26,200. Oh, the OS build is still shows as 26,100 though. But the build number is 26,200, I guess. So anyway, same kind of report, but I want to see what AI Studio says about this. And let's see. Yeah, I can go here and then come over here and then AI Studio. Now, AI Studio is a little different than Gemini when working across multiple computers. Notice here in history that this new session that I started on Big Beast is not here. But if I do refresh, it'll be here. User profile and activity status. If I click into that. Now, I also did not select a system instructions. So I think I have a system instructions on here for, no, I don't have a protocol here for on stream for live streaming sessions. So I'm just going to choose the AI directives for all chat sessions. And I'll ask it, what do you think about this one? Now I want to get that again in, I'm going to use File Explorer to drag that into the prompt. So I'll open a window just for that. And then SL, click down here ways, and then SL again There's sleep study. And then drag that. Now, do I really have to ask it the question again? If I just submit this without any sentence, is it going to deduce that I want it to tell me about this sleep study? Why not? So submit it with Control Enter. Okay, more on Optus. We'll get to that in a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so here it gives the name BB Baby 2025. There is a BB Baby 2024. And there's a third. What is it called? Well, it might be 2023. I'm not sure. I have 3 boot drives or boot partitions. 2 boot drives and 3 boot partitions. Such a Doug. User account, desktop, Windows 11, 24H2. Oh, I didn't realize that. I haven't updated to 25H2. Now, the way that I will do that is I will go to the media creation tool and download the ISO, mount the ISO, and then launch setup.exe from that mounted image to do that, rather than going through all the Windows updates. System, there's no sense in creating a flash drive for that. I don't do fresh installs hardly ever. System reliability power cycles. The report records extended multi-day operational runs. Yeah, BabyB stays on 24/7 typically. Restart it when I need to or when there is unexpected power reset events. 9 abnormal shutdowns were logged on August 26th and August 29th, each followed immediately by a clean system reinitialization. So coming to a computer I'm not familiar with, or I haven't, I've got a client who's been using their computer. What are they using it for? How is it going? This report gives me quite a significant recap of the computer when I let AI evaluate it. Primary workflow and commonly used applications. A remote system administration, device management. I don't get to do the red dot on this one because that Baby Beast doesn't have that. This machine spends considerable CPU and power resources managing remote endpoints. Log me and rescue technician, highly active across sessions, drawing up to such and such power in session 1 and such in session 5, indicating active remote troubleshooting sessions for client machines. Control plus, since this is a web browser, is going to make this bigger. I can do this auto scroll. Remote PC ecosystem, multiple components running continuously, including remote PC UI, yada, 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 remote PC service, yada, yada. This is all, the remote PC stuff is related to remote PC because I use LogMe and Rescue for my own, and I have several clients that use remote PC to connect remotely to their own computers because it is very inexpensive and very good. I have clients who have substantial amount of experience with logmein.com, which is very expensive. I switch them over to remote PC. They say it's faster, it's more reliable, and it's cheaper, a lot cheaper. Mirroring 360, running persistently across almost all active intervals, used to receive or broadcast screen mirroring feeds. That is for mirroring my cell phone to the screen. Well, it auto launches, but I don't use it all that much. Accessibility automation, active utilization of Windows voice access. I use that a lot. suggesting hands-free voice navigation or accessibility. We'll get to that. And web browsing and web applications, the primary daily driver during daytime and evening sessions, frequently occupying 100% of focus. During work blocks. Yeah, it's a lot of what I do on Baby Beast is through Chrome. Also Edge, heavily utilized, particularly during extended morning sessions where Edge held up to 100% display focus. I usually will use Edge when I'm managing Microsoft tenants on behalf of my clients. QuickBooks Online Desktop, Microsoft 365 Word and OneNote. I'm in OneNote a lot. Screen annotations, a lot of clipping of the screen. So this is giving me a pretty accurate summary of what this user actually does on this computer. Synology backup, Macrim Reflect, cloud storage with OneDrive. I do have ExpressVPN. I installed it a couple of times for specific purposes. I don't use it a lot. I have used it when I had a specific reason why I wanted that. Primary role, streaming, recording, and live presentations. Well, this is true in the sense that LogMe and Rescue, I can record my remote sessions. So sometimes I need to go back, want to go back and check to see how I did something or what happened or the specifics of an error message. So I commonly will do that. Hang on. Dominant heavy apps, OBS, Streamer. Oh, you know what? I must have scrolled back up to Big Beast. Oh, this is comparative summary. Oh, I see. Big Beast on the left, Baby Beast on the right. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, so never mind that recording. It was not referring to LogMe and Rescue recording. Yeah, so that's interesting, comparing the two. Okay, so that is that. I'm feeling good about that. I'm glad I looked into this. Okay, so let's go catch up with topics. There's 4 more messages in topic 2. Now, if I just do move down, yeah, that gets me to where we were at. Let's see, one big problem with smartphones is that when someone installs an app on their device, it wants access to the contact list. If you are on their list, you get tagged. Yeah, there you go. Good point. So somebody mentioned that because they don't have a smartphone, they don't get so much spam. Yeah, but somebody else has a smartphone and they have your email address in their contacts list and they have installed a free, right? There is a cost, but you're not paying cash money for it. Install a free app. There's usually some approvals they want you to do. And most of the time, you can choose not to approve things you don't want them to have access to. Sometimes, in order for the app to do its intended function, it needs access to certain things, possibly your contacts. But what are they doing with those contacts? Well, maybe if you care about it, you ought to go read their privacy publication to see if they are allowed to share their information with vendors who are needed to provide their basic functionality. That doesn't mean that doesn't guarantee that vendor is not going to use your content for other purposes or for marketing purposes or for other affiliate purposes. I have read through those agreements, and I have been surprised how candid they are in some of those agreements. So if you're privacy concerned, if you're concerned about you passing along other people's information, maybe just don't install other apps from other providers that are not as well, providing you something for free, and they're not provided like installing an app for a authentication app. I've installed authentication apps and numerous times, and I can't swear to what they want access to. So, but authentication app, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, I'd be okay with those. Timbuktu authentication app from some third name or open source, something or other, I wouldn't be quite so trusting. Just because something is open source, that doesn't mean that they don't use your data. Now, it should be, published on their privacy policy, but they might be telling you in their privacy policy that they do sell your information, but you didn't read it. Most people don't. Dennis to Sam, were you asking earlier about saving emails on Gmail? Google told me, and share Google. He's directing that directly to Sam. So Dennis and Sam, if you think that's useful for me to bring that up on screen, I'd ask you to let me know that, because I'm not sure if that was Dennis's intention. Maybe that's just a how-to, which I don't think we need. Carrie's got 3 here. Where is the citation of official Optus email retention policies? Sounds like conclusions without facts. Just because a client has a problem, first verify it's not affecting all clients. Well, if Sam doesn't have other... Okay, well, no, that's fair. Sam probably has other clients for that. And Sam says, sure. Sure to what? Sure you will do that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's move keyboard and mice around. Now, I did have that Gemini up. Is that what Carrie was referring to? How did my mouse get turned off? Oh, it's because I have 2 mice for Big Beast Bill. Yeah, such a Doug, I know. Let's get back to that one that Zvi gave me. Where is it? Yeah. So here's when Gemini told us Optus does not automatically delete. Here is its reference. This is its reference right here. Optus Internet Security Spam and Spyware. Any email remaining in the spam folder after 14 days is automatically deleted. But did the AI find that and stop there? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, if I click here, does that come up? Yeah, it goes to that. Internet security, spam, spyware, detailed information about commonly experienced threats, viruses, worms, spam and spam filtering. See, if we just go down that path, we're going to be seeing the policy about spam deletions. So let's come back here and see this. Check your spam folder correctly. So this is where it came up with that answer. So I'm going to, this is a chat that Zvi shared with me. See, there's no prompt down here. If I want to continue with the chat, I have to click here, and then I can ask my own follow-up question. Did you stop investigating when you found the documentation that spam emails are automatically deleted after 14 days? Do you have any documentation that defines that emails in the inbox are not deleted on any kind of schedule? And then control enter in AI. No, I'm sorry, this is Gemini. It's just enter. Yes, research was conducted on both Optus's specific anti-spam documentation and their general mailbox retention. Internet security, spam filter, 14 days, inbox. Optus does not publish document and stated that regular inbox are deleted on a schedule for standard folders. Optus webmail retains messages indefinitely unless you delete them. Your mailbox hits its storage allocation, the account is terminated. And then their documentation for that is from Move in Connect. So we can check up if we want to, really critique Gemini. This is not coming from Optus themselves. Optus webmail is being retired. The company has confirmed that its legacy email service will close permanently. The shutdown began in stages during 2025 and will not continue into 2026. Well, that's confusing, nodded some. What's not going to continue into 2026? The shutdown? It began in stages. Those stages are not going to continue into 2026, or webmail is not going to continue into 2026. People, geez. Email addresses ending in these will no longer function once deactivation is complete. I don't remember hearing this from Sam. This is a structured shutdown, not a temporary outage. Users need to move their data before access is removed. So whatever the email address is, you can't move that email address somewhere else. You can move your emails to some other email account that has a different address. Now, the thing that is really sickening about this is the number of people out there who have been using an Optus.com email address for 30 years or more. And they have tons of accounts that are associated with that email address. So not only do you have to move those emails to the new email address, but you got to go back to all of those accounts that you care about and change your email address with that provider. Some of those web hosted services might not allow you to change your email address with them, but you have to actually create a new account. Sam says this is news to him. He did not know, and he's there in Australia, and he regularly interacts with Optus and did not know this. Wow. Now, this is not Optus's website themselves. So this is from Move in Connect. I have no idea who that is. I mean, that sounds like some company that supplies services for moving tips right up here. Moving tips. Do you have documentation directly from Optus themselves about discontinuing email service? The reference you gave looked like some kind of website that helps people that are moving their home from one place to another. Sam says he only, whoops, I don't want to dictate that. Carrie's got more comments there. I got to go get those. And we're running out of time here. Directly from Optus Official Help Center, Optus outlines their policy regarding mail services, explicitly addresses their service shutdown rumors on their support protocol. No, we're not shutting down our Optus Net service. Customers with an eligible Optus product or service will continue to access their Optus email service at no additional charge on the Optus Net basic plan. Okay, Sam, you can start breathing again. Me too. Here is a case where Jim and I provided information you cannot trust without confirmation, just like in the old days of responsible journalism. Yeah, there's still some of that out there, but it's not as commonplace, right? Website news sources that call themselves news sources, they don't practice responsible journalism with a neutral third party confirmation and original source confirmation and documentation. Yeah, no, they are not shutting down mail service. Cry. Jeez. Have to understand how to use AI to access their option at additional charge on the. Now, I believe that I did. I was the one that questioned that, right? Because I didn't like the source. And here's the actual resource on Optus. So click on that, double click, no, click down here, single click down there. And that gets to their website. We're making some changes. We're writing to email customers about changes, significant upgrades. We are investing in the Optus Net email service in order to deliver more secure, modern email service that will provide enhanced benefits. Now that's from February 2025. See, that kind of looks old. That website says this. Let's see. Somebody just did a read chat, please. Now forward this explanation to 10 other people or your mailbox will explode, 1999 style. Yeah, you can't, he put in quotes that, so it didn't get named. The title didn't get named that. Now forward this explanation. Is that his joke or did he see that on screen somewhere? I'm not sure. I think that's a joke. Oops, here. The first paragraph in your reference includes the words oops. Oh, well. That makes me wonder if you found a page on their website that is not actively published and might be obsolete. The page is live and official. Okay. Upgrading schedule. Oh yeah, it says starting from then. Oh, that doesn't mean that web page was obsolete. Okay. Yeah, let's see, where am I at? Get topic 7 in topic 2. Okay. Actually, Carrie, I'll give Carrie brought up that recommendation to double check on that. So we'll make that 2,000 points for Carrie. Thank you. Where is the citation? Official options made to, well, for the retention, we did get that affirmed from them. but not about stopping email. In Australia, Optus, operating as online service provider, carriage service provider, handles email data retention under two distinct categories: email content, user data, and email. So what else do they have other than user data? I guess contacts. Maybe if they host things like calendar or to-do lists, that could be what they're referring to as user data. Just ask Gemini what Optus ISP email retention policies are in Australia for detailed factual information. Now, let's see, we did get, that part. We'd start out with Sam asking a clerk in a store. And no, as we've shown today, asking a person, that's not reliable, even if they work for the company. The client is likely checking email on 2 or more devices. One of them is configured to archive messages after 14 days. Yeah, we did deal with that last week, and Sam has affirmed that, and he's gone through that work with the client's computers. Carrie, maybe you missed our review of Sam's email on that. And so the news to me is no longer valid. Only have a couple of clients who use Optus emails. So there might be others that are using the Optus ISP service, but not their email service, maybe. Optus does not give proper support with their emails and no new email creation. Oh, you can't create a new account. Also, if email is not used for a while, they shut it down. Okay, yeah. I've seen that where an email provider will send out an email saying, hey, we're going to shut this account down if you don't sign in and show that you're still around, because some accounts are just totally abandoned. Sam says a CD has more space than Optus webmail. Yeah, very good. Okay, so everything caught up there. I guess I just didn't go down on that. A message. And so that'll do it. Once again, here's the email address. You can send a story that you have worked with on somebody's computer, or question that you have to address on the show. Other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Tune in. Days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you dream. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in, days a week, for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. And deeply, VB, like tech support.